Today's episode is going to make some mortgage loan originators angry. It's going to be loaded with unpopular professional opinions. What I'm going to discuss in today's episode, it's the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC
John Coleman.
Dio, what is poppin'?
Hey, we are week 2 with the new company, Lower. It's happening. They haven't fired me yet, John.
Did you get a corporate card yet?
I have not got a corporate card yet.
That's the only thing that matters.
Okay, the minute I get a corporate card, it's funny because I had a buddy of mine, shout out to Brian View, and Brian reached out to me. He's like, hey, Dio, I'm going to be doing something with the New England Mortgage Bankers. It's going to be in September. We're going to be in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Why don't you fly into Boston and come do it with me? It's like a panel. I'm sure we're going to be promoting the Green Book, Rethink Everything You Know About Being a Mortgage Loan Originator.
Shout out Brian View.
I was like, all right, cool. And then I started thinking this through. And I was like, you know what? I don't have a corporate card. Like, I know that the New England Mortgage Bankers would probably pick up my hotel for those 2 nights, but I'm sure they're wanting me to travel up there, which is cool because, like, look, if I go up there, dude, I'll go up there maybe a day early. I'll have dinner with Gabby and Ben. Shout out to Ben.
Shout out Ben.
And shout out to Gabby, too. She tunes in because of
Gabby.
Ben.
Sorry, Gabby.
You know, like I could still make a trip out of it. Maybe the Red Sox have a night game. We could go and get seats on top of the Green Monster.
That's what we call a boondoggle. Yes, you should definitely go.
But I don't have a corporate card, so I need to figure out how do I pay for my flight.
What you mean? Run it up on your personal and expense them back. Lose all receipts, though. That's what I do. No proof, no evidence.
Yeah, I should probably check in with the team. Like, hey, FYI,
Nah.
How do I do this? I knew how to do it with the old company, but part of transition.
You can't ask the first time. You know why? Because if you ask, then they tell you the proper procedures. But if you just go wild and do it the first time, like, oh, I missed that in the onboarding procedures.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure that out. But, speaking of travel, shout out to Oklahoma Mortgage Bankers and the Arkansas Mortgage Bankers. Arkansas.
Arkham.
Okay, there you go. I'm super excited about the Arkansas Mortgage Bankers.
Arkham.
Okay, is that what it is?
I don't know, because we have FAMP, we have CAMP. I'm just trying to find the acronym for Arkansas Mortgage.
I see where you're going with that. I see where you're going. No. But I'm booking my travel right now. I'm going to be in Oklahoma the end of September. I'm going to be in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the beginning of October.
Have you been to those states before?
I've been to Arkansas and I've been to Oklahoma, yes.
When you land, are you like, I can definitely tell I'm in Arkansas or Oklahoma?
No, I had a good time when I was in Arkansas. I flew into Little Rock and I went to a concert. My wife and I went up there with another couple. We did like a weekend getaway. Then we went over to Hot Springs for the day, hiked a little bit.
Damn.
I went in one of those really... Okay, they were popular like 100 years ago. Now they're just kind of weird and creepy, but I still did it. One of the bathhouses that utilizes the
natural springs, geothermal energy, Dustin.
Yeah, so I've been to both. I've had a good time. We did an event in January with our guy Carrick Draper and RGMI and some other sponsors back in January where we flew in and did an event in OKC. And I've been to Tulsa, so yeah, I've done it up.
I also actually went on a field trip this weekend, Dustin. You know where I went?
Where'd you go, John?
The Oviedo Chili's.
You went to Chili's.
I haven't.
You went to Chili's.
I sat at the bar, sticky as it could be, and
by yourself?
No, I went with the wife.
Okay. And why'd y'all sit at the bar? It's not like they had a waiting list, did they?
No, it was just like, for shits and giggles. Let's go. Let's see what we had to, Oh my God. The Hills Have Eyes All-Stars. We're all in that bitch. That's all I have to say.
I actually like Chili's chips and salsa. But it used to throw me off that they would sing a jingle about their baby back ribs. And I'm like, Chili's is like Tex-Mex. I don't think of them as barbecue yet. That was their whole like Chili's baby back ribs.
Everybody remembers the jingle. But yeah, I was in a Chili's this weekend and I was like, holy shit.
You know what I miss is Bennigan's.
Right? Shout out
in college.
That was like a step up.
Trivia night.
You go to Bennigan's, you got some dough if you went to Bennigan's.
Yeah, but hey, let's jump into today's episode. I teased it a little bit. Let's jump off of Bennigan's. Yeah. Here's what I want to talk about today.
Okay,
here we are. It's August of 2024. We've all been taking on the chin for the past going on 3 years.
Oh, really?
And yeah. Oh, really?
I'm like,
You're like, yeah?
John,
you know what's crazy? Your intro into mortgage has been the most effed up 5 years of my career. It's great. This is all you know.
I have no skin in the game, and all I know is people are just burnt, like hairs on fire, pulling it out.
No, it's been crazy. You got to think, you got in 2020 and 2021.
Great time to get in the industry, by the way.
Okay, those were 2 years where we made more money than God.
Yeah.
Okay, loans were falling out of the sky and punching us in the face and begging us to close them. Yet we were all stressed out because we were at maximum capacity. We are having to work from home for the first time ever. We are dealing with whatever you felt about COVID, you're dealing with it. And you felt like every day you were drinking from a fire hose, but at least at the end of the day, you had a big fat paycheck. Then you slid around to, oh, things are drying up. Oh my gosh, rates just shot up to 7. Now they're heading to 8. And we've dealt with the past 3 years. So for the past 3 years, we've been taking on the chin. We've had our head down, blinders on. We've been grinding it out. The strong will survive, and they are, right? And there's many others that are going to thrive because they chose to grow in this type of environment. But the one thing that we've been holding on to is when the refis come. When the refis come. The loans that I do today at 8 is going to be the refinance I do at 6. The loans I do today at 7 is the refi I'm going to do at 5.75. Okay, we've been talking about that, including us. But is it?
No, rates ain't never coming back down. This is new normal. Y'all better get used to that shit. I don't even have an NMLS number, and I can tell you that. No crystal ball needed.
Wrong answer.
Oh,
nice
really?
try, though.
Really?
Nice try, though.
You think rates are coming down?
I think they are. Maybe not as fast as people think.
Free fall.
Okay. I mean, you never know. Like, what the past 5 years have shown us is anything can happen.
Right.
I don't necessarily believe they're going to happen as fast as, oh my gosh, we're going to wake up and it's going to be October and we're going to have rates in the 5s. However, we are trending in that direction. The economic news, the inflation news, everything is trending in that direction. But what I'm getting at and what I promote in the soft open of today's episode is I don't believe originators are going to be like Zeke Elliott in his prime looking over to the sidelines being like, feed me. Feed me. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the consumer's going to benefit. The consumer's going to win. That guy or girl who bought that home 2 years ago and the rate 7.5, they're going to be able to get 5.5 or 5 3/4 or maybe 6, right? That guy or girl who's been waiting to do that debt consolidation and refinance because they really want to be able to leverage their home's equity in order to consolidate debt, lower their outgoing expenses or their outgoing bills, so that they can sleep better at night and then dedicate more money to go towards retirement savings or their kids' 529. Like, I think they're going to have a better opportunity because rates are going to start trending downward and they're going to take advantage of it. But right here is what is the unpopular. You don't want to hear it because it's going to sting and it's going to hurt. But I believe it's the truth. And I even have some data to back it up based on a conversation I had with a buddy of mine today. I believe, and many others in the space believe this. Garth Graham with Strathmore. He believes it. Okay, there are many of the experienced smarty arties in the industry that believe this. We, as mortgage brokers and mortgage loan originators, we are going to have this competitor that in the past was at a minimum the annoyance of a mosquito bite. Today, that competitor is like a hornet's nest with 500 hornets, and oh, by the way, you're allergic to their venom. And you're going to take a bat as if you're at a kid's birthday party and that hornet's nest is a piñata, and you're going to whack it. And that's who your competition is. And what I'm getting at, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, is currently every single loan has a servicer. Okay, so a mortgage servicer is who services that loan. And there are definitely times where you, the originator, are not the servicer. Maybe you were, but your company over the past 2 or 3 years had sold off a bunch of their servicing, so now you're no longer the servicer. Or maybe your company that you worked with, you brokered, and by brokering the loan, you no longer are the servicer. Or maybe you were a smaller IMB, and that IMB just never serviced the loans. Okay, cool. We all know that loans get sold. We all know that the servicer today might not be the servicer tomorrow. But here's what we didn't have to deal with 3 and 5 years ago that we have to deal with like today and going forward. 3 and 5 years ago, the servicers of mortgages would capture roughly about 18 to 24% of their servicing portfolio that was applying for a new mortgage. Okay, so that basically meant 1 in 5 would go with their same servicer, 4 in 5 would go find a new lender. That's going to flip-flop. That's the unpopular professional opinion. That is going to flip-flop. So now, if I'm a mortgage loan originator, like I was for so many years, helping thousands of borrowers, and I'm used to those borrowers calling me anytime they want to refinance. I'm used to those borrowers calling me when they are ready to buy their next home. And I knew that occasionally I'd have to go up against their current servicer if I wasn't the servicer. That going forward, those companies, because of technology, because of predictive analytics, because of AI, they are going to now capture 80% of their portfolio instead of 20%, which all of a sudden means, holy shit, if I was anticipating picking up on this coming refi wave and these loans are going to be falling in my lap, I'm telling you, prepare for them not to. I hope they do. I hope they do. We did a whole entire episode. I made the move over to Lower because we're going to help build one of the best mortgage companies ever to exist. And it's going to be a top 5 lender in the next 5 years. And we too love doing refinances. My branch managers and our regional managers and all of the LOs that work within those branches in those regions, they love doing refis. But those clients who might not be serviced by us right now and they're serviced by somebody else, where that used to be a layup, that used to be just a slap that mosquito off of your arm.
But, okay, so help me understand this.
Okay.
So when you're talking about servicing a loan, that's like when a loan goes through, that's who I make my payments to type thing,
100%.
Right?
Who you make your payments to.
Okay, so now I don't understand how that's going to be a problem because they still do the loan with me, John Mortgage. The servicing rights, who they write the check to, goes to them. Explain in more layman's terms how that affects me, because I just toss them the loans after they're done. So what marketing tools and AI do they have that will actually get to the consumer before me?
Okay, so here's the deal. So I did the loan for John Coleman.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did John Coleman's loan, and my company may have serviced John's loan for 3 years, and then they sold the servicing.
Right.
Right, because a friend of mine, and I'll use this as an example, and we're going to have Alan Baydoun's episode dropping really soon, and Alan Baydoun's a phenomenal mortgage professional. He's with the #1 lender in America, United Wholesale Mortgage, UWM. And I love the partnership we have with Alan and look forward to, seeing everything that UWM does in the future. But a friend of mine who is a mortgage broker, and this dude crushes it, like $50 million a year type, crushes it in the mortgage industry as a broker. He was just telling me that he's like, oh my God, Dio, so UWM just sold off a bunch of their servicing. I'm like, yeah, I read that too. Like, they're a publicly traded company. Like, they have to report those types of things. They show up in their earnings call. And I was telling him, like, dude, it's no big deal. Like, that's part of running a mortgage company is you book servicing, you do new originations, and the servicing that's on your books and the originations typically act as a natural hedge, meaning when you're making money in servicing, you might not be making money in originating. But when you're making a lot of money in originating, you may be losing money in servicing, because servicing has a value and it goes up and down, just like stock prices go up and down. And every once in a while, mortgage companies need to raise money. And the way they raise money is they have these assets called MSRs, or mortgage servicing rights, and they sell them. So I'm explaining to my buddy, like, hey, look, no big deal. Like, UWM's doing what everyone else does. He said, yes, but ... UWM sold a bunch of loans to Sinlar. Sinlar is the servicer, but they're servicing on behalf of, you name that company. It could be PennyMac, it could be New Res, it could be Mr. Cooper, etc. Well, now Mr. Cooper has their sales team, their inside sales team. They're men and women on a headset like you and I are wearing now, and they have their dialers, and they have access to that borrower's information, and they're picking up the phone and they're calling them. They are texting them. They're sending them information in the mail when their statement comes out saying, hey, John Coleman, I know you did your loan with Keith, but I service it and I want to do your refinance. You shouldn't have to go back to Keith. Just come back to me.
That's grimy.
Well, I mean, that's the industry, right? And we've always known that. We've always played in that bucket. Okay. We just have, and it worked really well because, like I said, I think the number I remember last reading was like 18%. Servicers were capturing 18% of their portfolio. Well, that's not the case. We're hearing from our friends in servicing that they're able to capture 72%, 82%. We've had one major servicer say, I'm willing to pay you more today for your loan than what anyone else is willing to pay because I feel like my team is so good, my technology is so robust that we're going to be able to capture 92% of our current portfolio. The next time John Coleman wants to obtain a new home loan, we're going to be there. Like stink on fish. We're going to be there. And John's not going to need to go back to Keith, the originator. He can just go to us.
So question. So this sounds like fast forward 6 months from now, all the loan officers are going to bitch and complain that their market share is being taken, and they're going to lobby to Washington to have this like some law drafted that's going to like prevent servicing organizations from reservicing the servicing rights. Is that correct?
Man, you definitely get around, don't you?
I'd be knowing because that's what's going to happen. They're going to complain and bitch, and it's going to be in Congress, and then you're going to get to take a trip up to Washington, D.C. to hang out with your legislators and Marco Rubio in the underground tunnel, and you're going to be like, hey, what's going on? This isn't right. MSRs are eating into my bottom line. And then we're going to be here a year and a half from now talking about, remember the episode we did like 2 years ago in the old studio? Things are changing. Things are changing.
You know what? It's going to be funny to see. I don't know if that type of legislation will go through. I mean, we've been fighting trigger leads for 3 freaking years.
One day.
And we still can't get the House and Senate to each pass a bill and then have the president sign it into legislation. But it doesn't mean that we're going to give up. Could that happen? Yeah, that could definitely happen. I mean, the FCC is passing new laws and new regulations that actually go into play January 1st. But technically, if you are purchasing leads like from Bankrate or LendingTree or Zillow, you should really have your implementation in place by like September. That talks about I'm not able to contact John Coleman, the consumer, unless I have explicit written permission to do so. And I don't know how that comes into play with the servicers. And I do know that those servicers were definitely lobbying hard to get a carve out with this new FCC regulation. But of course, they weren't lobbying like because they wanted to get the new originations. They're like, oh no, we need to get a hold of people in case, they're having a hard time making payments and we need to be able to reach out to them. It's like, no. It's a business. And these servicers paid really good money to buy these servicing rights. They're not idiots, right? They're not dum-dums. They're probably run by massive hedge funds who have billions of dollars behind them. They're purchasing them because they understand and recognize that these home buyers will be obtaining a new home loan every 5 to 7 years. And with technology and predictive analytics and automation, they are finally going to be able to flip the script and go from 20% capture to 80% capture. And what they're sitting on is a pile of freaking gold. So to my friends out there, our coaching clients out there, that I don't care if you're a broker, if you're a banker, etc., like we are going to have to solve for this. Like it's no longer the mosquito bite it once was. It's the hornet's nest that we're going to be fighting against. What does this mean to me? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really know, but let me tell you some of my initial thoughts if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, my initial thoughts are this. First and foremost, this is why we must be the advisor to our clients, why we must set the tone at original origination that we are their service provider for life. I'm your lender for life, ma'am or sir. This is why we need to make sure that they're getting things from us in the mail and in their email, whether they're market updates, whether they are congratulations on your mortgage anniversary, annual mortgage reviews, letters from the heart, like all the things that we coach and teach. It's imperative that our consumer knows us, knows how to get a hold of us, and they know that we care and they know that we are their source of information. If we're not doing that, we are going to get our asses handed to us by the servicer. All right. So like that's where I would start. And the second thing is I'd have to ask myself whether I run the company or whether I work for the company is irrelevant. Okay. So you could be a 5-person company or you could be a 5,000 person company, but ask yourself this: does my company have the tools, resources, ability, and capital to invest in the type of technology that all of these servicers have, right? These hedge fund backed servicers. Do we have that same technology, the automation, the AI, the predictive analytics? Because if I don't, then I'm literally showing up to a gun battle with a knife. And I don't like my odds of winning a gun battle with a knife, especially if we're starting about 40 feet apart.
Listen, I know how to solve all these problems because it only happens to deal with like refis, right? Not like new customers. Is that correct?
I don't know. Let's talk about that one in a second. Why don't you hold that thought and we'll circle back to it?
I'll see if I remember. Go ahead. I'm crossing my fingers.
Why don't you cross your fingers? You know that's what I do. True story, just sidebar. That is something I will do when there's a thought I want to get back to is I will actually cross my fingers. Usually at that point, I keep my fingers like where they're hidden, but I'm crossing my fingers because there's a certain thought I want to get back to. And for whatever reason, I have found that that's a good way to trick my brain to remember what it is that I want to come back and talk to. So John wants us to come back and talk about, is this just refis or could it impact purchases? And I'll cover that in a second. But my third thought, and again, this is whether your company is 5 people or 5,000 people, is my company large enough that if we're not doing it today, are we going to be getting back into the servicing game? Because that's a great way to prevent your clients from being poached by the servicer is to quit selling your servicing. Okay. Well, not every company is set up to service their own loans. And if you're not, then is that going to put you at a competitive disadvantage in 2027, 2030, 2035? And for me, that may very well be thoughts I have about the industry as a whole and potentially why I made the career change that I made recently is I do believe that we are entering into a new phase of mortgage lending that if you're not aligned with the top 10, you're going to have a hard time keeping up. You just are, because you can't do things at scale. You can't do things at low cost, and you can't afford the right technologies to compete against these massive servicers that already have our clients stroking them checks every single month for their current mortgage. Okay, so that's that. You asked the question, what about purchases? I think purchases will be harder for the servicers to get in front of those clients first. Like the refis are by far the low-hanging fruit. The refis are by far the easiest. That said, if you knew and studied what companies like Target do with predictive analytics. Okay, Target, as the story's been told to me, I read it in a book. Target typically knows when a woman is pregnant before she knows she's pregnant.
Yeah, that's
based on how they're shopping, based on what they're buying. They already know, and they need that data because they need to start making sure the right coupons end up in that person's mailbox.
Jesus.
And the way that Target knows that is because they have a Target credit card. They have a award system. Well, that credit card and that award system is their way of tracking consumer spending habits.
Sheeple.
So all that said, I wouldn't even put it past the servicers to have a game plan to utilize predictive analytics, artificial intelligence, automation, and other great technologies that we didn't have just 3 and 5 years ago, not at the ease and the speed and the cost effectiveness as we do today. They are going to also want to get in front of the home buyers. I think what we as lenders and mortgage brokers have going for us is the relationship with the real estate agents, with the home builders, with the financial advisors, and ultimately the service that we provide has to be 3x better than the service that is being given by someone working in a call center utilizing AI to do their job versus the person that's like, look, I know this inside and out because this is my profession and I am your advisor, your home buying advisor, your mortgage advisor, etc. But you're definitely going to see, in my professional opinion, going forward, you're going to have more competition from the servicer in general, both purchase and refi. But I think refi is going to be through the roof, which is why I would tell originators, don't start going out and buying that new car, buying that flashy watch, flying first class because you expect refis to be coming in.
Buy it all.
Refis will be coming in. Don't get me wrong. They will. Rates will be coming down. I feel very strongly about that. And we will do more refis today, or not today, next year as we did today, or in 2 years than we did 2 years ago. Like, yes, I'm confident in that. I'm not saying, oh my God, you're never going to do a refi again. What I'm saying is that if you think you may be able to do 50 refis, I'm telling you it could be 20. And if you have to do 20, you have to fight super hard for those 20. And it's not just going to be a layup the way that it was the prior refi booms, whether we're talking 2012, 2021, or we're going back to like 2004.
This is going to end not well for anybody. Do you know why? Because now the loan officers, when they get in front of the consumer, they're going to preemptively tell them about, hey, you're going to get a call from a loan, or like some person in a call center from the servicing. Just ignore their calls. They're just going to throw them under the bus before they even get the chance. And then the servicing people are going to get together at their little, where they come on their conferences, and they're going to come up, they're going to powwow and figure out how to combat LOs throwing them under the bus. And this is going to blow up in everybody's face.
Well, there's always been competition, right? There's always been competition. And that's the whole Mark Twainism of, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Historically, there's been competition.
Right.
But maybe instead of, independent mortgage banks and mortgage brokers losing borrowers because they want to use the same company that they bank with, or like their credit union or their bank, maybe the banks and their credit unions become a little bit less relevant and less of a competition. And maybe what used to be a thorn in our side as independent mortgage bankers or mortgage brokers was when the consumer wanted to, lean on their current credit union or their bank. Now maybe it's gonna flip over to the thorn in our side is actually when they want to talk to their current servicer first. But look, competition's healthy. Competition's good. Competition, the consumer wins, and ultimately the cream will rise to the top. So I'm still pro mortgage. I'm still pro this industry. I'm still pro this as a profession. But I think it's just good for us all to recognize that this is part of that evolve or die. And if you're not evolving, I promise you, those mega servicers are. They are salivating. They're licking their lips, and they can't wait. We're going to have to up our game so we can make sure we are capturing our fair share. And that's the key. Your fair share. You're not going to capture it all. You're not going to win every opportunity. That's okay. Okay. But it's not okay if you just sit back and do nothing. You have to make sure you are being mentored, being coached, and working towards being the best mortgage advisor, mortgage professional that you can be for your clients and the communities that you serve.
Well said, Dustin.
So, John, on that note, I think that's all I have for today.
Good.
I'm going to tell the people, look, if you like what we're doing, make sure you're tuning in. Make sure you're sharing us. Give us a 5-star review. I don't want you to share us with just one person, not just 2, 3. Sharing is caring, and 3 is many. And we want you to share what we're doing with as many people as you can. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You can connect with me individually, like as a human being, as a person to person. I'm on LinkedIn. First name Dustin, last name Owen. That is by far my best way to connect with individuals is on LinkedIn. We have a private Facebook group that is just for originators. It's called the Mortgage Mafia. If you want to be a part of a cool private Facebook group where we're sharing best practices, asking each other questions, sharing marketing ideas that work, go ahead and send in a request to join the Facebook group called Mortgage Mafia. And then finally, if you're looking for coaching, look TLOP's way. All the information you want to know about our coaching programs, that's LO Launch Plus, the MLO coaching community, can be found at tloponline.com, which is also where you go to sign up for our free newsletter. He is John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That is all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode.